Hello, my dear Muslim brothers and sisters across the globe. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Today, we will take you on a journey through the remarkable story of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, starting from his childhood to his early youth. This story is not only a source of knowledge but also a way to strengthen your faith. We encourage you to listen until the very end, as every moment holds lessons and blessings. The world before the Prophet's birth. Before the arrival of Islam, the Arabian Peninsula was a land shrouded in darkness and ignorance. Tribes followed their own customs and beliefs, often worshipping idols, fire, and even natural objects like trees and mountains. There were also Jewish and Christian tribes, but their practices had strayed far from the original teachings of their faiths. This was a time of moral and social decay. Oppression and cruelty were widespread. Women were treated as property, and newborn girls were often buried alive out of shame. Violence and bloodshed between tribes were common, with no sense of security for life, honor, or property. The world desperately needed a savior to bring guidance, justice, and mercy to humanity. In this chaotic era, Allah sent his final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a beacon of light to guide people back to the truth. The blessed birth of the Prophet. The Prophet was born on a beautiful Monday morning, on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, 571 CE, in the holy city of Makkah. This day is known as a turning point in history, as it marked the arrival of the greatest mercy for all creation. When the Prophet was born, his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, was overjoyed. He held a feast to celebrate the blessed occasion. People asked him why he chose the name Muhammad, a name that was rare among the Arabs at the time. He replied, "I want my grandson to be praised in both the heavens and the earth." His mother, Amina, also gave him the name Ahmad, a name that reflected his pure and noble character. Even at birth, miraculous signs surrounded the Prophet. He was born circumcised, with a natural shine in his eyes, as if lined with kohl, and his body radiated purity. His grandfather, deeply moved by these signs, said, "This child is destined for greatness." A remarkable incident also occurred when he was born. His blessed hand was clenched, but his index finger pointed towards the sky. This gesture symbolized the oneness of Allah, even from the very first moments of his life. The custom of sending children to the countryside. In those days, it was a tradition among the people of Makkah to send their children to the countryside for better nourishment and upbringing. The clean air, simple life, and pure environment were believed to strengthen a child's health and character. Following this tradition, the young prophet was sent to live with the Banu Sa'd tribe, a group known for their hospitality and eloquent Arabic language. He was placed under the care of Halima Sa'diya, a kind and humble woman who, despite her poverty, agreed to care for the child. The blessings of Halima's household. Halima's life was filled with hardship before she took the Prophet into her care. Her family struggled with poverty, and even their animals gave little milk. However, the moment she took the Prophet into her arms, her life transformed. When she first nursed the Prophet, she found that both he and her own child were fully nourished, even though she previously couldn't produce enough milk. Her weak and underfed animals suddenly became healthy and produced abundant milk. The barren lands around her home seemed to thrive, and her household was blessed with provisions. Halima and her family quickly realized that this child was no ordinary boy. He brought with him an aura of peace, blessings, and mercy. A childhood full of wisdom and blessings. The Prophet stayed with Halima and her family for several years. During this time, he grew strong and healthy in the fresh air of the countryside. Even as a young child, he displayed qualities of kindness, honesty, and intelligence that set him apart from others. Halima often noticed that wherever the young Muhammad went, blessings followed. His presence brought joy and harmony to everyone around him. These early years were filled with miraculous events, further confirming that he was chosen by Allah for a great mission. Halima became deeply attached to the young Muhammad and begged Amina to allow him to stay longer. Touched by Halima's love for her son, Amina agreed, and the Prophet stayed with Halima until he was 4 years old. During these formative years, Halima and her family witnessed the unique and blessed nature of the child who would one day change the course of history. The event that foretold greatness. One day, while Muhammad was playing with other children in the fields, an event occurred that would leave an everlasting impression. The angel Gabriel, appeared before the young prophet, gently laid him on the ground and opened his chest. Jibril removed a small black clot from his heart, symbolizing the removal of any evil or impurity, and then cleansed his heart with Zamzam water. After this, Jibril restored his chest and left, leaving the young Muhammad unharmed but forever changed. The other children who witnessed this extraordinary event ran to inform Halima, crying out, "Muhammad has been harmed." Halima, filled with worry, rushed to him and found him safe and calm. However, this miraculous incident filled her with concern for his safety, and she decided it was time to return him to his mother. A journey of loss and resilience. When Halima returned Muhammad to Amina, she shared the story of the event and the many blessings she experienced while caring for him. Amina listened and embraced her son, aware that he was no ordinary child. The Prophet continued to live under his mother's care, and life resumed peacefully for a while. When Muhammad was around 5 or 6 years old, Amina decided to take him on a journey to Medina. This trip held special meaning for her. Medina was the resting place of her late husband, Abdullah, and also the maternal home of Abdul Muttalib, Muhammad's grandfather. The journey, which lasted about a month, was challenging but meaningful, offering young Muhammad glimpses of his father's legacy and the extended family's roots. After spending time in Medina, the group began their return journey to Mecca. However, during the trip, tragedy struck. Amina fell gravely ill and passed away at a place called Al-Abwa, located between Mecca and Medina. She was buried there, leaving Muhammad an orphan at the tender age of 6. This loss was the first of many trials that would shape his life and strengthen his character. A new chapter begins. After Amina's passing, Muhammad was placed under the care of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, who loved him deeply. This period marked the beginning of a life filled with lessons, perseverance, and divine guidance. Even in his earliest years, Muhammad's life was a testament to resilience, grace, and the extraordinary destiny that awaited him. This touching account of the Prophet's early life reminds us of the profound trials and blessings he faced, shaping him into a figure of unmatched wisdom, compassion, and leadership. Through his journey, we find inspiration and a reminder that even in the face of loss, the seeds of greatness can bloom. Your story begins with immense trials. When you were born, your father, Hazrat Abdullah, had already passed away. Just a few years later, your mother, Amina, also left this world. You were left an orphan at such a tender age, but Allah had a plan for you. Your grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, became your guardian. Abdul Muttalib was deeply affected by your situation. He carried the sorrow of your parents' loss, but poured all his love and care into raising you. His affection for you was extraordinary. He would place you on a special mat under the shade of the Kaaba, a spot reserved only for him as the leader of Quraysh. Even when others were forbidden to sit there, he made an exception for you. He would tell those around him, "This child is destined for greatness." Abdul Muttalib ensured that you were always close to him, showering you with love and protection. However, tragedy struck again when you were just 8 years old. Abdul Muttalib passed away, leaving you under the care of your uncle Abu Talib. Despite his limited resources, Abu Talib embraced you with open arms, treating you as his own child. His love and dedication were unwavering, He shielded you from harm and worked tirelessly to provide for you, ensuring you never felt the absence of a father figure. Abu Talib's bond with you was so strong that he would not leave you behind, even during his trade journeys. Whenever he traveled with his caravan, he took you along, making sure you were safe and cared for. On one such journey to Syria, an extraordinary event took place that would hint at the destiny written for you. As Abu Talib's caravan approached the Syrian border, they stopped to rest for the night. In that area lived a Christian monk known as Bahira, who rarely interacted with travelers. But this time was different. Seeing the caravan, Bahira left his home and approached them. His attention was drawn to you immediately. Three-birth Bahira told Abu Talib, "This child will one day lead the world." Astonished, Abu Talib asked how he could make such a statement. Bahira explained that he recognized the signs of prophethood described in the Torah and the Bible. He even pointed to the seal of prophethood on your back, a divine mark that set you apart. Bahira warned Abu Talib not to take you further into Syria, as enemies who understood your significance might try to harm you. Trusting Bahira's advice, Abu Talib sent you back to Mecca with a trusted companion. From that moment on, he became even more vigilant in protecting and supporting you, understanding that you were no ordinary child. As the years passed, your character shone brighter. Your honesty, trustworthiness, and noble conduct earned you widespread respect in Mecca. Among those who admired you was Hazrat Khadija, a wealthy and esteemed businesswoman. Hazrat Khadija entrusted you with her trade caravan to Sham, pairing you with her servant Maisara. By Allah's grace, the trade was highly successful, and Maisara was in awe of your integrity, kindness, and wisdom. He returned to Khadija with glowing reports of your character, sharing stories of your fairness and dignity. Deeply moved, Hazrat Khadija recognized your exceptional qualities. She admired your honesty and the way you conducted yourself with grace and humility. Eventually, she proposed marriage to you, a proposal you accepted. This union not only brought love and partnership into your life, but also laid the foundation for the great mission that awaited you. Hazrat Khadija was not only a successful businesswoman in Arabia, but also a beacon of kindness and compassion. Renowned for her generosity, she used her wealth to uplift the poor, care for orphans, support widows, and help the sick. Her charitable acts extended to funding the weddings of many girls who were struggling financially. Hazrat Khadija's character shone with integrity, and her legacy stands as one of the most inspiring examples of a woman who not only excelled in business, but also made an extraordinary impact on her community and beyond. Before marrying Prophet Muhammad, Hazrat Khadija had already experienced the trials of loss and widowhood. Her first husband, Abu Hala, passed away, leaving her with 2 daughters. She then married Atiq ibn Zayd, and they had a daughter, but once again, she found herself a widow when he also passed away. Despite receiving marriage proposals from prominent leaders and influential men, Hazrat Khadija turned them all down. Her heart was drawn to Prophet Muhammad, not just because of his honesty, but also because of his exemplary character. Hazrat Khadija took the bold step of sending a marriage proposal to the Prophet Muhammad through her close friend Nafisa. The Prophet Muhammad was initially hesitant and sought advice from his uncle Abu Talib, who strongly supported the union. The marriage was celebrated with a dowry of 20 camels, and despite the difference in their ages, Hazrat Khadija being 40 and the Prophet Muhammad 25, their union was built on deep mutual respect and love. Hazrat Khadija became the Prophet's first wife, and throughout her life the Prophet Muhammad never married another. Hazrat Khadija was the mother of all of Prophet Muhammad's children except for Ibrahim. Their children included Qasim, Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum, Fatima, and Abdullah. Sadly, all of their sons died in childhood, but their daughters not only embraced Islam, but were strong supporters of their father's mission. Fatima, in particular, played an instrumental role in the early days of Islam. As the first woman to accept Islam, Hazrat Khadija stood by the Prophet, Muhammad, through some of the most challenging moments of his life. She provided him with both emotional and financial support during the early years of revelation, offering a sense of comfort and strength when he faced rejection and hardship. The Prophet Muhammad deeply cherished her, and even after her passing, he often spoke of her with great affection, never forgetting her unwavering loyalty and support. The pivotal moment in history came when the first revelation was sent to Prophet Muhammad while he was meditating in the cave of Hira. Angel Gabriel, appeared to him and commanded, "Read." The Prophet, Muhammad, overwhelmed by the sudden encounter, replied, "I cannot read." This happened 3 times before Jibril embraced him tightly and revealed the verses of Surah Al-Alaq, beginning with the words, "Read in the name of your Lord who created." Returning home shaken and fearful, the Prophet Muhammad sought comfort in Hazrat Khadija, asking her to cover him with a blanket. He shared the life-changing experience with her, and she, with unwavering faith and understanding, reassured him, saying, "By Allah, He will never disgrace you. You are the one who supports the needy, helps the poor, and is always there for those in distress." Hazrat Khadija's strength, faith, and love provided the Prophet, Muhammad, with the courage he needed to embark on the greatest mission of his life, the spread of Islam. Hazrat Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, played an essential role in the early life of Prophet Muhammad. After the first revelation from Allah, she immediately recognized the gravity of the moment and took the Prophet Muhammad to her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal. Waraka was a well-versed Christian scholar, known for his knowledge of the Torah and the Gospel. Upon hearing the Prophet's Muhammad account of the encounter with Angel Jibril, Waraka confirmed that this was the same angel who had come to the great prophets of the past, including Hazrat Musa, Moses, and Hazrat Isa, Jesus, peace be upon them. Waraka's heart was filled with wisdom, and he recognized that the Prophet Muhammad was the last of the messengers. Waraka's insight was profound. He foretold that the Prophet, Muhammad, would face immense trials and suffering on his mission to spread the message of Allah. He warned that those who had raised their voices for the truth, from the time of past prophets until now, were met with persecution, and the Prophet Muhammad would face the same. Despite the difficulty ahead, Waraka expressed his unwavering belief in the Prophet's mission. Hazrat Khadija, the Prophet's Muhammad devoted wife, was a constant source of unwavering faith and support during this early and challenging period. Her love and confidence in the Prophet Muhammad never wavered. Her devotion played a pivotal role in sustaining the Prophet Muhammad through moments of doubt and hardship. Unfortunately, the Prophet faced a time of great sorrow when Hazrat Khadija passed away. This moment, known as the Year of Sorrow, was filled with intense grief, not only from the loss of his beloved wife, but also from the passing of his uncle Abu Talib, who had always stood by him and protected him from his enemies. Hazrat Khadija's passing, at this critical time, marked a deep personal loss for the Prophet, Muhammad. She was laid to rest in Jannat al-Mu'alla in Makkah, and her legacy lives on as a symbol of love, faith, and selflessness. Hazrat Khadija's belief in the Prophet, Muhammad, was one of the strongest pillars during the early days of Islam, and her unwavering faith continues to inspire Muslims around the world. Waraka, being an expert in the scriptures, recognized the signs of the arrival of the last prophet. He assured the Prophet, Muhammad, that what was happening was not just a divine coincidence but the fulfillment of the prophecy of the last messenger whose arrival had been awaited by generations. He confirmed that the angel who had descended upon the Prophet Muhammad was indeed the same angel Jibril who had come to the previous prophets. Waraka's words were not just a confirmation of the Prophet's Muhammad prophethood, but also a warning of the trials to come. Waraka also shared a prophecy about the future, predicting that the Prophet's Muhammad community might soon expel him from his own city, just as the communities of past prophets had rejected and driven them away for speaking the truth. This was a foreshadowing of the difficult journey that awaited the Prophet Muhammad in spreading the message of Islam. In the face of this forewarning, Hazrat Khadija's faith did not waver. She was the first person to fully embrace the truth, becoming the first woman to believe in the Prophet Muhammad and accept the message of Islam. She immediately recited the first kalima, the declaration of faith, marking her firm and unwavering belief. Hazrat Waraka ibn Nawfal, who had confirmed the truth of the Prophet's Muhammad mission, recited the second kalima, a profound declaration of faith in the Prophet Muhammad as the messenger of Allah. My dear friends, this was just the beginning of a journey that would lead to incredible challenges but also immense rewards. The story of Hazrat Khadija's support and Hazrat Waraka's confirmation of the Prophet's Muhammad mission is one of courage, faith, and sacrifice. We will continue sharing more of this inspiring story in the next video, Insha'Allah, God willing. So, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next part of this journey. May Allah bless you all, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video, Insha'Allah. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, and Allah Hafiz, may Allah protect you.